Okay, we did the poll today. This is what do you want to hear Jonesy discuss? I'm not sure people really want to hear me discuss anything, but the answer was the Fed balance.
Why wouldn't they? He runs the whole bloody research team. You think he might have an observation or two that you should care about?
So the question was on the Fed balance sheet, which I wrote about last week, and what do I think about it? I'm not quite sure what to think, but I sort of tried to quantify it. We've added $4 trillion to the Fed balance sheet since the beginning of the pandemic, and it's interesting because that's 3 times as much as during the Great Financial Crisis and as much as QE1, QE2, and QE3. So we've massively inflated the Fed balance sheet. What I thought was interesting looking back historically is that the Fed continued to add to their balance sheet for 5 years after the Great Financial Crisis. So I think people that think this is just over now, they're going to be proven wrong on that pretty quickly. It's going to be an expansion for a longer period of time, most likely. But the big thing is what happens at the end of it all.
Yeah.
And we don't know when the end of it all is, but.
Well, I don't think we need to know the end. I think we just need to know where we're in.
Yeah.
So this is how Jonesy wrote about this, and for those of you that don't subscribe to Macro Pro, you're not getting all this incremental data, which you'd really be asking questions about, as opposed to like, oh my God, look at gold, it's low into the ranges, 1829. What are we gonna do? What you should really be thinking about is the big stuff, the big parts of the cycle, which includes the Fed's balance sheet. So what we do is we measure and map every single thing that ticks. It's not just market prices, like I showed you the factor exposures embedded therein, which is next level. Be clear. When you go to the golf club this summer, just say you're next level macro. Next level. You don't listen to whatever they listen to. So what did he say? Jonesy said on a week over week basis, the Fed's balance sheet was up $32 billion. Well, what does that mean? That sounds like a lot, Zero Edge. What should I be thinking about that? Well, let's think about contextualizing that on a year-over-year basis, Jonesy Butts, right? So on a year-over-year basis, that's plus, what did you say, $4 trillion? Yeah, year-over-year.
Not quite year-over-year, but since the beginning of the pandemic.
Oh, since the beginning of the pandemic.
Yeah.
Year-over-year.
So you had the massive increase sort of right at the start of the pandemic.
So that's plus 10% year-over-year.
Yeah.
So the Fed's balance sheet's up 10% year-over-year to equal $7.9 trillion, which is up. You said that's plus $4 trillion since the pandemic started?
Yep.
Okay. Now, isn't that a better way to think? I didn't really say anything other than what I was writing down. Okay, here's an interesting topic. Fed balance sheet. What did it do week over week? Up $32 billion. What has it done year over year? Up 10%. Where is it now? $7.9 trillion, up $4 trillion since the pandemic. There's no editorial around that. There's no valuation. There's no chart. What we do know is that this explicitly affects what in Quad 2? Fed BS leads to US dollar lower. You know why yesterday's most popular cartoon as opposed to popular question was yelling and screaming? Show it to them, Jen Ron. Because that cartoon captures all these numbers. That's why we're the best at what we do. Because we can give you one picture that is embedded, fractally embedded in that picture is every freaking number we put on the page. Isn't that awesome? It's so much better than waking up in the morning having a milkshake. Or talking about this over here and doing that over there. In Quad 2, the dollar goes down. In Quad 2, if the Fed has an expanding balance sheet, slide 48, you can see historically if you invert the deficit, in addition to that with the Fed's balance sheet, the dollar is royally screwed, right? Now, one more chart. Now bring that back to the 3 months. 3 months ago today, on this day, in March, guys, show it. The dollar this morning, the dollar chart. Everything that we just said is a known no. And the dollar on that, see that last in the top left of that chart? Every Tom, Dick, and Harry with a chart on Wall Street said that the dollar was breaking out there. On what? Right? So that's what we think about the Fed's balance sheet. That's what we think about the dollar. That's why you don't turn yourself into a chart monkey. Being a chart monkey saves you a lot of time. You don't know any of these numbers, you might, and you're just going to lose yourself over time. If I could do less in a day and achieve more, I would. but I can't.